Alright, Internet. I just finished watching VooDoo, which came out this year, 2017, written and directed by one Tom Constable. Not familiar with his work. Uh, I don't know what to think about this movie. It's worth a watch, but it's awful. It's terrible. Um, it's essentially a premise. It begins with a lofty enough phrase from Shakespeare about hell hath no fury like a woman scorned. And apparently, the entire movie is one woman's revenge on another for stealing her man, which seems kind of old fashioned, throwbacky, patriarchal, weird premise for a movie in 2017 about voodoo. But that is really what happens. This girl from the South dates a guy that she thinks is single, and it turns out he's not, and he's married to a voodoo priestess. Which right there makes you wonder about the judgment of everyone involved, at least in the writing of this film, because why would a guy married to a voodoo priestess go and run around and do that? He'd know better. But anyway, he gets his just comeuppance. Anyhow, so the voodoo priestess confronts said adulterous wife, and here again is sort of the tired trope of um, the the randy woman who the lusty woman who gets killed. It's the old moralistic lesson edict. Don't screw too much or you'll die in a horror movie. So anyway, she is confronted by the voodoo priestess who puts curse on her, and then she escapes out to L.A. where everything sort of picks up. There's a weird prologue at the beginning of the film that just shows a woman killing brutally both a mom and her daughter, and that makes it seem sort of promising at the beginning. But then right away you realize that this is a found footage movie and sort of all the tired, awkward tropes that go with that, and so they justify the quality of the footage with the protagonist describing how it was a gift from her dad. It's old and big and clunky, but a gift from her dad as she's leaving to come out here. For some reason, she manages to be able to make everyone around her carry it so that we see her, even though it's her camera, which I would have just told her to fuck off and carry her own camera, which she does at a few parts. Anyway, weird things begin happening to her out in LA, and I begin to wonder if maybe I misjudged this film and it was going to kind of turn out to be a slow boiler, but, given the violence at the beginning, maybe one that would pull off and deliver something weird. And it did deliver, just in an insane way that it should never have been done, but is worth a viewing, if for no other reason than that you can finally see a graphic representation of Satan raping someone. About the 50-minute mark of the film, it just goes off the rails as if writer-director Tom Constable ate some mushrooms and said, you know what would be great is if we should film what Rosemary's Baby and countless other devil impregnates a woman films have never shown, and that's just the real deal, the real pumping and dumping from the Dark Lord himself. And let me tell you, they pull no punches. At about 50 minutes in, the woman is abducted and absconded with down into the bowels of hell itself, which looks, oddly enough, like the sort of tableau you see in a funhouse, carnival, haunted house cave with people in badly dressed rubbery makeup sort of leering at the camera, which is now being held by the voodoo priestess herself, because in addition to exacting her revenge on her quarry from across the United States and over many months, she is going to lug a camera with her on her shoulder while filming her descending through the various levels of the abyss. And so we're treated to an extended view of what the afterlife will be, if you don't mind your P's and Q's. And it's bizarre and cheesy and worth watching because, yeah, I mean, there are babies eaten. There are women in hell. It's really a very. I think somebody had just read the Divine Comedy, particularly the Inferno, and or maybe flip through some Hieronymus Bosch paintings, because it's just all sorts of awful things happening. People being sodomized in stocks, and priests having to stab themselves repeatedly, and babies being born to, I don't know what, are presumably harlots or unwed mothers or whatever used to get you put into hell for being pregnant. Or, immediately being their offspring immediately devoured by demons right afterwards. Quite graphic and disturbing thematically and conceptually, at least, but so cheesy somehow in the execution that you're left sort of with a weird look on your face somewhere between uh and 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 so finally, yes, actually, we see Satan himself, looking a lot like the Wishmaster, I might add, on his throne in hell, and he has his way with the maiden, and then she's released, but not really, because we think that she's safe, but then she finds out she's actually still in hell, and she's just sort of damned forever. And there is no tie-in back to the original killing at the beginning, so we don't know who that woman or her daughter were. It's a bizarre, terrible movie that I do suggest you watch, because I saw some things I haven't seen in a horror film before. They weren't done well, and they probably shouldn't have been done at all, and it totally justifies why every horror movie that tried to show, Dark Lord impregnating somebody always sort of skips around the actual nasty itself. Yeah, we know why now. So, if you'd like to as well, I suggest that you check out VooDoo. Hoodoo? You do.